Are you gonna guide us? Please go in front. Everybody's gonna be like, go.
Pose, 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 pose.
White mango.
Vamos a venir, ¿verdad, hermano? Bonito, de vivir. ¿Quieres sentarse o no sentado allá?
¿Dónde? ¿En el pasto? The pasture, they asked the pasture instead of brother and son. ¿Está tapado ahí atrás? Ya saben, we'll catch up later. Gracias.
We could have a couple more if they want to come in. Sure.
Ryan. You could
They're not coming, so it's us.
Yes.
Good. Well, welcome to Ellen White's house. This was her house for the last 15 years. 1900, when she came from Australia, she decided to reside over here. The reason she wanted to stay here, because her husband had opened up a publishing house around Oakland. And she wanted to be here so she can keep an eye on the publishing house over here. That's where she decided to stay over here. Now, Ellen White is known in the world the most translated author when it comes to female. But in the United States, she's the most translated author, both male and female. Throughout her lifetime, she wrote between 75 to 100,000 pages. When God was showing her the visions, she would write it. You can see her handwritings over here. As she was younger, she had a beautiful handwriting. As she got older, like the rest of us, hand gets a little bit shaky, but it's still readable. What she would do, she would write it, and then the secretaries would come and pick it up and take it to the office, which is across from the parking lot. They would type it, that you can see down there, double space, and then they would bring it back to her. She would read it. If she had left out something, or the secretaries left out, you can see with the pencil mark, she would correct it a little bit, and then send it back, and then they put it in the archive later on. They printed all the books that you see on the mantle over here are her writings. Now, Ellen White had 4 boys. One of them died at the age of 3 months. The oldest one that you can see the picture over there, Henry, died of 16 years old. When Henry was in a deathbed, he requested to be buried next to his 3-month-old brother. They said, "Why do you want to be buried next to your brother?" He says, "During the resurrection day, I want to hold my little brother, put him in your arms." He was talking to his mother. He was a very considerate son that Ellen White had. At that time, tuberculosis was a killer disease because people were horse and buggy they were riding. It was dust all over the place, all kinds of pollution. People would smoke, drink, and God hadn't shown Ellen White our health messages yet. Even our own Adventists were eating pork or smoking or chewing tobacco. So not that our Ellen White's kids were drinking or smoking, but they died of tuberculosis disease at that time. The picture you see over there, the 2 remaining sons of Ellen White, James Edson White was the oldest one, and then Willie White, that all the family descendants are coming from Ellen White, from Willie White.
The young one.
Pardon me?
The young one.
The younger one, yes, younger of the 2. They grew to be old, to old age, and died from old age. They didn't die from any kind of disease. Over there on the top row, you can see Ellen White's birth certificate, her ministerial credentials, and her death certificate. Quite a few people look at that ministerial credential. What's going on between our Adventist people right now? What are they fighting about? About women's ordination. Some group wants women to be ordained, some group don't want it. People look at it, they say, look, Ellen White was ordained as a minister. Ellen White wasn't ordained by people as a minister. Ellen White was ordained by God. They never laid hands on Ellen White to ordain her. And Ellen White never carried ordained minister's duties. She never baptized anybody. She never married anybody. Those are ordained minister's duties. The reason she has the license is because after her husband passed away, in order for her to earn a living, just like right now, auto mechanic has to have a license to operate. Carpenter has to have a license to operate. So they gave her a license so she can make a living. That's why they gave her. Otherwise, she never accept herself as an ordained minister. The picture of the lady, to a point that we called her Ellen White's watchdog, because she was watching who comes to visit Ellen White, who doesn't. But they had a one Ellen White's house after Ellen White passed away. Even during his time, people would come and see tour over here. Now, right before he passed away, he donated the land and the house to Pacific Union Conference. So ever since it has been under management of Pacific Union Conference. 9 years. She opened up hospitals, schools,
Was that after here?
churches.
After
No, it
here?
was before here.
Before here?
From there, 19 books, testimonies to the churches. The last 3 volumes, 7, 8, 9, she wrote it when Cain is running away. And then Adam and Eve are doing their first sacrifice, pointing the last sacrifice will be Jesus Christ. And then, of course, River Jordan, that Jesus was baptized. And then on the left, you see the Last Supper that Jesus Christ had with his disciple. When Ellen White commissioned the artist to draw this, they went over there was nothing was growing over there. They said, is this where God showed you to build the hospital? She said, yes. So they had to hire somebody to come and dig a well. In order, they needed water over there in order to run a hospital. The guy goes over there, how were they digging well? They didn't have machinery, they were digging with pick and shovel. So the guy is digging for 2-3 weeks, comes out, he says, Sister White, there is no water in here. She said, go back and keep digging, because she had shown exactly where to dig a well. 2 weeks later, he comes out. Now, Ellen White didn't use this place just for a living. She also worshipped over here twice a day. Any idea how long Ellen White's worship lasted?
Every day?
Every day she had worships here. Twice. How many?
2 hours?
10 to 15 minutes. Every day. She would choose a hymn. They would sing. One of the secretaries would play the organ. They would sing it. And
The same organ?
that's not the same organ, but it was very similar than that one. The same organ got not working, so we send it back. Every item you see in this corner is the original. This was Ellen White's chair. She was a very short woman. You're looking at it. She was exactly my height, 5'2". She would sit in that chair. That is her original Bible that she read for the worship over here. So once the worship was finished, everybody who was in the worship, they had to pray. If her kids, her grandkids, they were like 2 years old, they could speak, they had to pray. Now some people say, why would she do that? Why would the little kids have to pray? When Ellen White was growing up, she was a very shy person. She wouldn't talk to anybody. She didn't even talk. Believe me when I say they're not shy, they're not shy. I know all of them. They are all speakers everywhere. Her grandkids, her great-grandkids, his great-great-grandkids, they're all public speakers. So that was her goal that she wanted to do. She died in a young age, and here you can see the twins, and that is his second wife that he met in Australia. As a matter of fact, Ellen White played the Cupid. She had a part in getting them together. She was 20 years younger than Willie White. But they got together, they had a happy marriage, and they had 5 kids afterwards. So altogether, Willie White has 7 children, so all the family members are coming from Willie White. Her other child, Edson, even though he was married twice, he never had any children. The books that you see on the mantle, 9 the testimonies to the church in the other room, are these last 3 of them that Ellen White wrote. The clock that you see on the organ, in 1979, we found it in the attic, with about that much dust on it. So we brought it down, we cleaned it up, and there was a note inside of it. It was given by Uriah Smith's widow to Ellen White. And I guess they used it over my wife, not me. Well,
To marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I handed it to them, and they climbed down, and brought it down, and we cleaned it. Good question. Yes. We're going to be going up. Oh, yes. The best part is up. Yes.
Is there any white family?
Yeah.
They live back there?
Yeah, they have to be, there are 2 caregivers over here. One of them is my wife's sister and her husband. You have to be retired in order to live over here, because they're giving you a stipend, very little money, but the housing is free. Let's go to her dining room. We're not going to be feeding you, but on to the dining room.
I was going to say, did you go?
Well, this was her dining room. The table is not the original table. It was much larger than this one. But the chairs are the original chairs. And this was Ellen White's chair. She was sitting at the head of the table. You can see her napkin ring. It says Ellen G. White. they were living here, they had their own mattress. From time to time, we would have people walking away with these in their pockets. So we started developing eye on the back of our heads. But they would bring it. There was one kid from Brazil, he had taken one and only two we have from the entrance, put in his pocket all the way to Brazil, and then we couldn't find it, I'm giving up groups. But when God showed her that the vegetarian diet was meant for the consumption of assistant, at her table, the conversation always had to be pleasant. She never allowed anybody to talk about business or talk about politics or anything. If you're talking to somebody about politics, especially when they're disagreeing with you, what happened to your stomachs? It becomes like knots. She says, you can't digest food. When she had a cow, she had the milk, she had chicken, she had their eggs. They would put it over here in her refrigerator, but we call it the ice box. They would bring twice a week, put blocks of ice over here. Once you closed it, she never refused them. She graciously accepted them, but she never wore them as a jewelry. She brought them home. Her numbers, the one circle, 2 digits, 63 and 65. Mm-hmm. 79 when remodeling this place. Before that, and we have full-time cleaning lady who does every day something clean. Every day, yes. This is her pantry during the day, daily pantry. You can see those half-a-gallon jars that she was preserving, keeping for daily. Yes. Nobody lived in this house, no. The bottles, the jars over there, my mother-in-law, he would, Helen White would do it one down below the bigger jars. And she would do 3,000 of them, yes. Oh, the white necklaces, people gave it to her when she was coming off the boat, when she was visiting different islands.
Why are these stairs?
This is the original too, huh?
No, this is not the original one in Washington, but it's identical to this one.
Wait,
Here, if they wanted the oven to be burned, they would burn wood over here. If they wanted stove top, they would burn over here. So they would heat up these irons. They would iron the clothes, gets cold, put it back, pick up another one, do it. There's a gadget on this that they would pick it up with that. But we had little boys and girls pick it up. We don't want to spend time cooking food. So what they would do, they would cook meals on Friday. And then how do they keep it warm for Sabbath? Long time microwave oven. They would cook the meal. They would put in these pots.
Oh, nice.
They had these heavy stones. You can see one of them in the oven. You want to hold it?
Be careful, man.
Just from there.
Wait, wait.
Hey, Brian,
Oh my gosh.
Mia, be careful.
they were hot.
The food warm.
So they would heat this up, nice and hot. Once the food was in the pot, they would put the hot stone on top of it, and then another food on top. This thing is insulated. Once they close it, at lunchtime, they would open it up, it's almost like you're real. In there, hot, cold,
Yeah, it's not cold.
during the
It's so tiny. They call it. Whoa. Look at
Now, when Ellen White bought this house, this room did not exist. She built this lapboard. That's all she brought over here. Everything else was provided for her. Of course, take this one with her when she was traveling, because this one is easier to carry when it's collapsed. It's smaller, it would fit her in a suit. Sarah McIntyre first, they would put their head on the carpet and watch her while she's writing. She had to deal with her grandkids. If you're coming up, when you see a pencil or pen in my hand, I'm writing, do not disturb me. 11 of those books. So when her grandkids came over, guess where there's $3,000. She would send them. The minute she passed away, her secretary got up and stopped that clock. Can you tell me what time it is? It says 2 in the afternoon when she passed away. In 2015, we celebrated her in Oakland area. At that time, White Tower has 2,500 gallon tank up there. The windmill would take the water up there and then.
Wood intact, like the way it is, her drawing board.
What do you mean, how you kept it intact?
I mean, like the way it is.
Because we're not using
This
it.
picture of Jesus, she had framed and it was hanging in her bedroom.
And we have to fix it
She
up.
mentioned
I just made
that
it
all
on
the pictures of Jesus she could see, this one.
It's a canteen, but it was hot water bottle.
Already.
Is this bathroom still usable? Is it still usable?
It's still usable.
Is that the original
use
tub?
You know,
Don't touch anything.
every time she just put it.
This doesn't take any.
Some of our presidents, this is some of our pioneers we can see over here. Some of them are famous, we know some of them don't. You guys remember John Andrews, right? Andrews University now. You know that Ellen White school being in the same time in his life? Ellen White was saying, you can't do that. Carry on golf work instead of. But she told me, you need to do it. But if I tell he went to the machine, so they would trust me. About a year later, his daughter was sick. His daughter moved out of the machine. So he told John Andrew, you can't see your daughter because it's contagious. A week later, he found John Andrew dead. His daughter holding her hand. Well, that is, and I told you, don't. The neighbors would wait. But then John Andrew.
No.
Oh, this
The
one,
library or
this
something?
is our family, this is family, this is family. So we do have family reunions from time to time. In '89 we had the Rio Academy up north, and then down south we had that's Gladys.
Oh.
Mabel was her sister.
Where is White?
Now remember Ellen White holding the Bible for 35 minutes? Like that?
The big Bible.
Yeah, the big Bible. This gentleman is James Bordeaux. He is one of the greatest evangelists we've ever had. But before him and his friend, they thought Ellen White's visions come from Satan. They thought Ellen White's visions were coming from Satan. So what God did, showed a vision to Ellen White to give him and his friend a surprise visit. So they went over there. While they were sitting over there, they were singing hymns. Ellen White went into vision. So they said, quickly, if her visions are coming from Satan, let's put a Bible in her lap. She will come out of it. Not only she didn't come out of it, she held the Bible up. You can see it with one hand open, and she was turning the pages and reading it without even looking. So he puts a chair and goes up there, and he says, everything she reads is right. Not only he changed his mind, changed his friend's mind, and they both became one of the greatest evangelists we've ever had.
Is that the same Bible?
This is not the same Bible, but the other Bible is identical to this. Same size and same weight.
She held it with one hand.
With one hand.
5'2" lady.
Anybody wants to hold it?
With one hand.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's 18 and a half pounds.
And she held it with one hand and started
One
reading.
hand like this.
Let me check.
For 35 minutes.
35 minutes. Don't drop it, please.
Oh, this is heavy.
A ver.
Can I try?
A ver. She hold it like that.
Así, como si
Open.
nada.
It is easier to close, harder to open.
Oh, because you have to hold both sides.
Con una mano le estaba agarrando y le estaba dando vuelta.
You can see.
Y estaba leyendo así como
You can see
usted.
how she was holding.
Oh, you can do it. Huh?
1 minute 40 seconds. That's all he could hold.
Is that him right here with the tie?
Yeah. That's the same guy.
1 minute, a minute and a
1 minute 40 seconds.
1 minute 40 seconds.
And he wasn't even 2015, one of 100 most influential people in the world. Ellen White came number 8.
Wow.
It is a great honor coming from a different denomination. Of course, their prophet was number 1 for them, but from different denomination, when say Ellen White came number 8, that is a great honor for us. You can see the Mississippi River next to that ship, up and down the Mississippi River, and evangelize to less fortunate people. Not only he would do that, but he would teach them how to read and write. Over there, and she approved every single thing that I want to tell you guys this story, and I want to test your Bible knowledge. Are you guys ready? Okay, you guys remember Moses, right? What happened to Moses when he was in the wilderness?
Salimos, nosotros salimos, entramos primero. Oh, hi, sorry.
But unfortunately, Lizzie died with no religion. Even though Ellen White's siblings, her parents, accepted the Advent truth, but Lizzie did not want to do that.
Why is that?
She was bitter towards religion because they were Methodists before they found about Advent truth. So the Methodist church pastors told them that if they don't deny their newfound religion, they're going to kick them out of the Methodist church, which they knew they'd had their truth with the Advent truth they'd found. So they were kicked out of the church. After that, Lizzie did not want to do anything. It was bitter towards religion. She didn't want to accept it. Numerous letters Ellen White wrote her pleaded with Lizzie. Edson White, who built the Morning Star ship, and then Willie White, that all the descendant of Ellen White is coming from. So who's this gentleman over here? That's S.N. Haskell. He was a Review and Herald editor for years and years.